Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor. I'm the man of the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now, I'm back from my week away, as it were, So the first thing I want to do in coming back is talk about Article 13, and about some of the stuff that's going on around it, and kind of what we may or may not be able to do currently, especially if you're in the UK or throughout Europe, of which there are a few of you. I know that the bulk of you are in the States, but yeah, we'll see what we can do over here, I guess. But so for those of you that have been living under a rock, or sorry, got something in my eye, or who have been kind of just too busy to pay attention to all of this stuff, the short version of Article 13 is that it's a copyright law, a new set of copyright regulations that have been suggested and that were sent back a couple of times to kind of review and work over, but there was a vote on September 12th, which meant that it's kind of got passed forward, and there's a final vote in January of next year. And obviously, we're kind of halfway through February, not February, we're halfway through December. God, I'm tired so far. And as a result of us being halfway through December, it's kind of got to the point where campaigning, where we're writing letters to MEPs, where having discussions and raising awareness is a thing that has to happen, which is no doubt why you guys have seen all of the little things that are popping up on YouTube at the moment in regards to Article 13, because they are worried about it. Now, why is everyone worried about this? Why is this piece of copyright legislation a potential problem? Overall, it comes down to some very vague wording that would allow owners of copyrighted work to shit all over anybody who, including the platforms that host those people who happen to be using their work. Now, could this have been avoided? Yes. Could this be better specified and better worked? Absolutely. Are there ways to achieve this without the level of bullshit that has been thrown into this, and with all the lobbying back and forth and all that kind of thing? Absolutely. However, it's one of those situations where you've got a lot of people who are making these decisions being completely unaware of the environment that they're actually affecting. And this is where you've got people like YouTube, like Google, kicking up a fuss about this. Although I do find that some of the comments that YouTube has made, they just rub me up the wrong way. They're just so hypocritical, considering that they say that their claims are accurate in saying that this could very well do untold damage to the digital economy, to the lives of creators within the UK and the EU and the world generally. As with GDPR, the EU is this huge trading bloc, and differences and kind of changes that they make within that trading bloc cascade out everywhere, and it forces other places to change their own regulations and update their own policies and things like that, purely because if they don't, they miss out on a huge amount of money, an awful lot of cash flow that comes from the EU. And so as a result, kind of the comments that YouTube have made are made more for self-preservation, because without the creators that they would have to deal with, they would either have to block off the EU, limit the EU users, and so on and so forth, or just, quite frankly, the easiest thing that they can do is just shut down creator-made content, or creator-made content that can't be verified. There are already people online, organizations online, that will copyright strike and try and earn money off other people's work, even if that work has quite happily just included other material, copyrighted content and things like that for the purposes of things like commentary or parody or satire or whatever else. So, we already have that. I've experienced a little bit of that. Other people experience a lot of that on this platform. And YouTube doesn't police that particularly well in the first place. But also the thing that stands out to me in regards to YouTube's comments and how hypocritical they are is that they say that this will do untold damage. It's like, well, actually, the person who's done the most damage overall to the creators' lives and the creators on your platform and the digital economy around your platform is actually you, YouTube. In which case, you are by far the least helpful spokesperson on this. However, looking back at what we can do and where the problems are how vague this is, how big the impact could be, whether intended or unintended, how lacking in knowledge and capability the people who are making these decisions actually happen to be. In which case, one of the things that I'm going to be doing now that I've got a little bit of time over the next few days is I'm going to be writing to my MEPs. I will be sharing those letters with you guys, but then on top of that, I will be sharing responses that I get with you guys to see who is responding best, who is not, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be an interesting experiment, to say the least. But I also urge all of you guys to do the same. It's easy to find your MEPs. Just go online and look up the list of MEPs, look up the various areas that they happen to be in. Their contact information is there, including office email addresses and things like that. Put your thoughts on paper, send it to them, because without them hearing from you, then quite frankly, they're not going to be able to do anything. They're not going to be able to act. One of the other things that I just wanted to address in this video just quickly is that because of being in the UK and the whole current Brexit situation and the clusterfuck that it is at the moment, and that it is likely to continue to be. I've heard a lot of people going, "Oh, if you didn't have enough of a reason before, Article 13 is a good enough reason to leave." Not really. Firstly, the economic impact of the digital economy side of things, the creator economy, all of that kind of stuff online, yeah, that'll be impacted by this. News sites potentially, all those kind of things, yeah, that'll be a pain in the ass for a lot of people. It's going to be very hard to enforce, even for the EU by themselves. But the thing is, when it comes to leaving the EU, well, that means that we would have to adhere to these rules without having a say in the way that they are made. It's the situation that we've been talking about for the longest time. Leaving the EU means leaving the discussion. Leaving the discussion means having no say. Having no say means having to follow directives, follow directions and orders and policies and things like that we've had no part in the creation of, no way of having a say. And as a result, Article 13, it's enough to make you leave. No, it's not, because if we leave, then we don't have any way of potentially preventing the harm. It's the same thing to do with everything that's been talked about in regards to Brexit. If we up and leave, if we up and just completely quit out, and we don't have membership anymore, we don't engage with them anymore in any substantial way, then either we follow their rules and that's all we do, or we stick close and stay close, and we actually, continue to operate as we have done in the past, where we actually have a say, and maybe not send representatives like Nigel Farage and his buddies, who quite frankly just piss people off and are the biggest blowhards and the largest hypocrites and idiots that we could possibly have sent over there. So it's a case of if anything, if this is a case, if people are coming to you and going, well, if you weren't Leave before, then you should be now. Well, this is, in fact, a perfect example of why the whole Brexit thing is a bit daft. Leaving, not being able to contribute to the solutions, or contribute to the debate and the discussions around things that will potentially kill people's jobs, ruin people's lives, decimate people's hobbies, or full-on careers. You know, there's no easy way to solve all of the problems that we have or all the differences that we have, but discussion and working our way through it is the most important thing we can do. If we step away from the table, then we don't have that kind of leverage, we don't have that leeway, we don't have that pathway to kind of forming a solution. And so, whether we end up leaving next year, or whether we end up staying, or whether some weird happenstance that's somewhere in the middle occurs, what we really need to do is stick close and, at the very least, try and remain some kind of voice at the table. We saw how huge the impact of GDPR was earlier this year. Having to deal with that still is a difficult thing for a lot of companies to keep straight all the time. But then on top of that, we've got all of these other new modern updates to policy and to law and things like that are going to be coming in. They are the largest trading bloc on the planet, the EU, and it's going to be a case of we're impacted one way or the other. We may as well have some kind of say in it, which is exactly why later this week I will be getting in touch with the various MEPs that I can, and we'll be taking a look at both what I said, and it'll be speaking from my perspective, my experience, and the things that I do, but then also looking to their replies and seeing whether or not it's a lot of hot air, whether or not it's something that is reasonable, that they would maybe be interested in further conversation before approaching the vote in January, or if it'll be a case of they have already heard from enough people to sway their vote when it comes to it. And then also, as and when January rolls around, we'll have to see if they actually follow through on it. But either way, this is going to be an interesting experiment. It's going to be something that I kind of maybe want to follow up with in various other ways as well, on other topics that I've spoken about on the channel before that I've kind of avoided for the last few months. But we'll see how it goes. And otherwise, guys, I just want to let you know a little bit about kind of what's going on over Christmas. So I'm away and working this other thing that I do, and jumping around doing other bits and pieces during this time, in which case at times videos may be here, as they should be this week to one degree or another, possibly not as many as 2 a day, as has been the kind of norm for the last month or two, but we should have a good number, and then also I'm gonna try, because Hannah's coming down to me for a bit, I'm going to try and live stream with her, because we want to play through The Council, a game that came out earlier this year in episodes. The last episode came out at the beginning of this month, so I've got them all here, and I want to see whether or not live streaming and us just being able to sit down, play a game, and share it with you guys, how well that will work, and how easily I can make that run, considering how janky some of the YouTube live streaming stuff has been when I've done it in the past. But either way, that's a little bit of an update from the end of this video. Otherwise though, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you got in touch with your MEP if you're in the EU, or especially if you're in the UK, over Article 13? What do you think of some of YouTube's comments when they are suggesting how damaging this would be, when we've seen all of the things that YouTube has done to disadvantage creators recently? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on those. But otherwise, yes, we will see how this experiment goes. I will keep you apprised in various videos, and we'll have to see what kind of responses we get. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the video. I don't think there'll be one later, but definitely tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.